सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। If you are following this particular book, then please open up page number 50.
Kena-Upanishad.
Yes, page number 50. Repeat after me. कुछ नहीं. Repeat after me, please. Om Apyayantu mamangani Vak pranaschakshuhu Shrotramatho Balamindriyani cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahma-Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam mestu Tadatmani nirate Ya Upanishadsu dharmaha Te mayi santu Te mayi santu Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Last time when we were looking into the Upanishad as the body of work, we had looked into the idea, we had looked into the concept of why Upanishad is called Vedanta. There are within the Veda 4 different books: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva or Atharvana Veda. Each Veda has different theme of study. Each theme of study subject. There are different kinds of subjects. Each theme of study is called Samhita. Within each Samhita, there are 4 classifications. Sometimes you see it mentioned as 3 classifications: Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. Though technically at the end part of the Aranyaka you find the Upanishad, and the Uttara Mimamsa is purely on the Upanishad, therefore it has been done into the 4th category: Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. Mantra means Mananat Trayate, that upon which when you contemplate contemplate, you are relieved from those kinds of limitations. Mananat trayate. Mantra. Now, learning the mantra is like memorizing or learning or understanding the formula. But these formulae have to be practiced and you become an expert at it. So, the expertise of that particular theme of subject, Samhita, the mantra which is being introduced, when we become an expert at it, that which teaches us how to become an expert is called Brahmana. Here, Brahmana does not mean Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishya, the Varna, Chaturvarna, but it is Brahmana means the one who has become an expert at something is called Brahmana. Mantra Brahmana. There were some very deep thinkers, and these deep thinkers, they said there has to be more evaluation on this particular topic or subject, so they went into some kind of a seclusion. In those days, the seclusion was in the mountains, caves and forests. The forest is called Aranya. Aranya means wood. Aranya, that which is made up of wood, which is forest. Therefore, in the seclusive meditative equipoise, when they researched further into the mantra and Brahmana, they came up with subtler pointers. Those subtler pointers or upasana is considered as Aranyaka. The end portion is whichever theme that you are studying, whichever samhita that you are studying, if meticulously learnt, one has to come to the experience, to that subtlety which takes us to the core of our own being. See, in any field, you can permit yourself to be doing a similar kind of a mistake, not more than twice. Supposing you are driving from your home to this place, how many times do you think it is okay for you, permissible by you, for you to miss the route, miss the exit? Once, maybe twice. By the third time, you have become an expert at it. Expert at not missing it, expert at reaching it safely. Isn't it? So the expertise that is being talked about, the subtlety that is being talked about is a learning process. And Vedanta, because Upanishad is the last of that segment of the structure, the way Vedas are explained, therefore it is also known as aka Vedanta, the end portion of Veda. In the recent past, say about 100, 150 years, we as a society who have such rich heritage, such rich tradition and the depth added to it, we have been convinced that sophisticated living is when you modernize your thinking. In the Texan wisdom, there is a saying where they say, don't throw the baby along with the bathwater. So when I did research into identifying where did this come from, why would anybody throw the baby along with bathwater? So I said, in those days, bathing was not a regular chore of the day in the Western world. So once when they decide, so the houses did not have a proper setup of bathrooms to take bath in. So they would go to places wherein they have a bathtub and the bathtub has water and the entire family, husband, wife, chinku, tinku, pinku, minku, all the kids that are there, everybody is given bath. First the father of the family baths in the same water the wife baths, because it is precious. Then the babies are bathed. Once the bathing happens, the water is so dirty that you may mistake your child to be still there and you throw away. You throw the water away and not the baby. But in the social engineering that we have gone through, where modern has become such a popular word that it even today persists. Wherever we talk about a school, it is a modern school. It is not the age-old kind of a school. The modernity was supposed to be replacing that which we were holding to our heart as the very core of our being, as the very essence of our lifestyle. But that was being traded out in search of modernity. So what happened to that which is traditional, that which is the samskara born out of our traditions? They were considered as primitive. And hence therefore primitive, therefore it has to be abandoned. There are so many systems that which we in the name of modernity have thrown aside, that the value of the depth of the tradition, the civilizational value, the touch has been lost. It was in that cusp wherein stalwarts like Aurobindo, Ramana Maharshi, Puja Gurudev himself, Swami Chinmayananda, they said, we have this beautiful wisdom, but it is now only partitioned to be only in Himalayas. Rarity that it is, this wisdom is not available handy. See the ingenious brilliance that Bhagavan Sri Adi Shankaracharya ji designed after he saw what happened after the aftermath of the Bauddha, Jaina and the society being dissipated, distracted and divided. He said there has to be a better way to handle things. So he established 4 mathas. One in the south, Sringeri, one in the east, Puri, one in the west, Dwaraka, and one in the north, which is the Jyotirmat or Joshimat, which is near Badrinath. And then within the sannyas ashrama, he created Dashanami, 10 name endings. See, we all traditionally belong to the Sringeri Matha. Therefore, our names usually are, those who have become Swamis, initiated into sannyasa, is Swami Chinmayananda, Saraswati. So, we belong to the tradition of Saraswati. So, you have heard Saraswati, Bharati, Puri, Tirtha, Sagara, Vana. There are 10 different such name endings. Dasha, Nami. The purpose of this was that those who take to this life of renunciation, whichever sampradaya that they are following, they should be in that particular realm, taking care of that particular zone. It is like a zoning system. That particular zone in which they focus their attention to reignite this thought of Vedic, Upanishadic wisdom into day-to-day life. So those who had the ending called Sagara, they were supposed to live on the east coast and the west coast. Sagara. So those who are living around that Sagara, it was their job to inculcate these value systems so that they are connected to the Sanatana. Tirtha. Tirtha is the Tirtha Kshetras, pilgrimages. So these people who have taken to the Tirtha nomenclature, they have to stay in the Tirtha Kshetra, so that when people come to those Tirtha Kshetra, they talk about the Kshetra Mahima, Sthala Purana, Sthala Mahima, that Devata Aradhana, and various steps to be followed, so that what they are connected to is reinvigorated. Those who live in the forest, so they were given Vana, and we are connected to one such Sampradaya ourselves in Chinmaya Mission, because our own Swami Tapo Vana, he belonged to the tradition of Vana Sampradaya. So Tirtha Puri, they had to stay in the cities. Now with the oppressive environment, because of those who came in for various reasons of money and business, whether it was the Islamic tradition or the Christian traditions that came in with different names, 7 generations or 7 different sultanates. Then the British, there were 4 different flavors of European Christianization that came in. The French, Portugal, Dutch, and the British. What impacted was that these traditions, these cultures were limited to far inaccessible zones, that we as a society got disconnected to that which is the age-old wisdom. So when Gurudev himself, who was quite a literary giant, he had studied, I'm talking of in the 1940s, where SSLC meant stop studying, learn cooking. You're done with your education, now learn cooking. Get back to your family businesses, family traditions. He had done his MA, he had done his law, he had become a journalist. He was one of the most educated lot, the elite educated lot. So when he went to Rishikesh, and he found that this wisdom was never touched upon in the scheme of education. It was completely lost. Why? Modernity had taken over. In the name of modernity, we threw the baby along with the bathwater. There was a doubt created. I got this clarity when I was speaking to a medical university in US. Usually in India, when we say after the lecture or the talk is done, we say if you have any doubts or questions, please ask. We use doubt and questions synonymously, don't we? So I came with that impression, not that I was an expert in English. So I asked in that university, if you have any doubts or questions, please ask. So this girl that got up to ask a question, she made that distinct clarity. She said, I definitely have a question, but I don't have a doubt. So I marked it in my head. I mean, so emphatically she is saying that it is a question and not a doubt. There might have been a difference which I have missed. So I went back, looked into various dictionaries. In those days there was no online yet. Google Amatali was not yet invented then. So I went through the different dictionaries, Webster and Oxford and various such, and then found that question is when something is being heard or listened to, you understand most of it, you agree with most of it, but there are certain portions of it which are not clear and you are seeking clarity. Doubt is, I don't believe a word that you have said. Nothing of what you said made sense. Therefore, I doubt the very context and the message given. Something to learn. The doubt is different. Questions are different. There was not a question raised. There sown into our hearts, generation after generation, that we became weak, we became, as a society, we became weak, we became helpless, useless, because it was our primitive, non-modern system of lifestyle. We started distancing from our own lifestyle. We started distancing from our own scriptures. We started distancing from our own traditions and customs. Why? It was born out of doubt. That which was sown as a doubt, which had taken grip as a doubt, today has become apathetic, that we become disinterested in. Not just apathetic, now you see that tradition or that the entire customs is frowned upon, looked down upon. That if you are following it, in fact people take pride in saying that I have broken those traditions, therefore I am modern. A Brahmana was supposed to be chaste, with no indulgences of vices like liquor and meat. Now we find people saying that I have taken out the Yajñopavita, I drink heavily, I eat non-vegetarian heavily. They flaunt the idea that they have broken out of those traditions and they look down upon it. Now what happens when you not only have a doubt, you not only have become apathetic, you not only frown upon it, you are disgusted with the very thought that there is a tradition. Now this thought, this idea of Sanatana, Gurudev thought it has to be revisited with all vigor, so that this beautiful wisdom that is given in Upanishad, where the word Upanishad in itself says to take us closest to Upani, that Shat is the actual word there is Sat, to take us to that truth. We were seekers of truth. And anything that deviates from that, we frowned upon it. But now we frown upon anybody being traditional. And sometimes these Balavihar kids, they come meet in the ashram, they're okay. You try walking with them outside, and this is my observation. You try walking with them outside, they will walk 10 paces ahead of you or 10 paces behind you. They don't want to be connected with you. हम भी अपने बाल ऐसे नहीं गवाए. So as soon as I observe that, I call their name out. That if you don't walk the entire path, teasingly, mockingly, I threaten them. I will make sure that I announce to the entire public here that you are with me. Disgruntled, they come stand next to you and start walking. Can you imagine that they know they have something to learn, which is logical, and they appreciate it, but they want to stay disconnected from it. In the Yuva Kendra, there are boys and girls that come. So sometimes when I see the girls, I said, where is the tilak on your head? Where is the... Oh, it doesn't go with my genes. They are not talking of genetics. They are talking of the jeans pant that they are wearing, the attire that they are wearing. The tilak or it is too traditional to go with, blend with. On the other hand, we also have a fascination that if somebody has been modernized, that they can speak English. how much we are conditioned. That if somebody speaks flawless English, they are looked up to. If somebody looks sophisticated in these modern ways, we kind of dedicate our shraddha to them. We start believing everything that they say. Sad states of affairs. We were not that who were imitators. We were encouraged to pursue truth. We were asked to follow truth. We were asked to follow the truth. And instead of following truth, we have become imitators of that which is far away from truth. So the entire purpose of study of Upanishads, Vedanta, Vedic Shastra is to realign ourselves to that pursuit of truth born out of Shraddha. And it is that tradition wherein each individual seeker is encouraged to question that which they are hearing. Unlike the Abrahamic, wherein in their traditions, whatever the book says, whatever the priest or the father or the mullah says from the pulpit, you shall not question it. Whereas each one of us is not just encouraged, we are prodded to say, don't just listen and believe what you are hearing just because the scriptures have said it or the guru has said it. Question it. Pariprashnena sevaya. Pariprashnena, shake that, try to see and ask questions. And when you hear the question, you can clearly see whether it is born out of Shraddha or whether it is born out of Ashraddha. Born out of Ashraddha, it is doubt. Born out of Shraddha, it is a question. Even then, our masters have been very compassionate in even taking on the barrage of doubts and not questions. Even that is accepted. But never take something at its face value, inquire into it. Because we are seekers of truth. Therefore, the Upanishad says very boldly, Nahi balahirena labhyaha. This truth cannot be it is not the turf for somebody who is weak-minded. It's somebody who has the courage. That individual alone can bear the truth. So there is no dogma here wherein it is said so, therefore you do whatever is said. If you are questioning it, sartan se juda. It is not primitive. It is the most profound, glorious cry of wisdom. So that Upanishad, which is the essence of Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, a thorough research, is not to be taken lightly. That is printed in English, therefore I can attempt at it. The subtleties have to be understood by a prepared mind. ऐसे आके बैठ गए मिल जाएगा, नहीं मिलेगा. In fact, when Gurudev started, there were many who believed that this knowledge should be given only to those that are qualified. You cannot give this knowledge from a pulpit. You cannot make it open source. And Gurudev said the entire Upanishad is open source. If you understand the word open source and locked source, those of you who use iPhone, its software design and everything inside is locked. You cannot bend it, tinker it. And the other source is called the open source, where you can develop on it. This is the entire Upanishad is an open source. And then to the question raised that it should not be given in public, he said those who are qualified alone will understand it. The others that are not qualified, they will gloriously sleep away. Even though they are sitting in satsang, they will be drawn to sleep, or they will be distracted by their own mind. It is to be pursued by that qualified mind, and the earlier segments of Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka prepares that mind so that it is qualified to raise, adapt, collect and imbibe that wisdom. Now what is the preparation that is required? The preparation that is required by the individual seeker is that they have dedicatedly been working in the field of karma with the absolute tenet of karma yoga siddhanta. You are not doing karma yoga, you are doing karma, but with the attitude of karma yoga. Just because we do some service once in a while, we have the audacity to claim and brand ourselves as a karma yogi, great karma yogi. There are those that are workaholics who cannot live without working, and these workaholics are also termed as karma yogis. Without the attitude infused in that karma of karma yoga siddhanta, you cannot claim such tall claims. Whether it is the family responsibility, whether it is the job that you are doing, whether it is the interacting with the society, family and friends, whether you are working for a nation, whether you are working for a particular field of science or economy, the attitude behind is only 2 steps. Though it is just 2 steps, very, very difficult to stay on track. What are the 2 steps? The first step, do it selflessly. Any act, do it selflessly. And while at it, dedicate it to the highest altar of that divine, of that Parameshwara, that Paramatma. Because the purpose of karma is not for the results of karma. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Yes, we very arbitrarily give the meaning of that particular shloka as do your best, leave the rest. It is not just that simple to say do your best, leave the rest. When they say ma phaleshu kadachana, the phala of every karma that we are seeking and searching is ananda, is that sukha. Karma cannot yield sukha. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Alright? The moment we realize it is like clean bold. Because the very purpose for which I am doing any karma is to find that sukha. If you take that motivator away, why would I even work? Therefore, the next sentence is that you should not give up karma. You should not get into akarma because it will not yield sukha. The purpose of karma itself is so that chitta shuddhaye natu vastu upalabdhaye. It is for chitta shuddhi, chitta ekagrata. Such prepared mind now takes into upasana. You want your son to be a basketball player, a cricket player, a swimmer. You cannot go directly, dump them into the swimming pool and say, now win a medal. डूब जाएगा बेचारा. What do you require? Rigorous discipline. Upasana. You have to go closer to the swimming pool first. In villages there was no swimming pool, there was a common well or a common pond. The child was taken, the purpose of it was to survive water. Therefore, those who have learnt in the well and those who learn in the swimming pool, the techniques are completely different. Those who learn in the swimming pool and taught meticulously, there is a finesse, elegance to it. Those who have learnt it in the well, you will see so much of splashed out water because their purpose is to survive water. But at least you have to first get to the source of water. Then meticulously, disciplined way, learn it. Similarly, for that sukha to be attained, first the mind has to be trained. First the mind has to be learnt. Meaning, the ways of the mind has to be understood. Such was the tradition, that which we threw away thinking it was primitive. That when the student was taken to the school, Gurukula, there was a necessary step done before that. It was called Upanayana. Such a beautiful word. Even with the word they have indicated the purpose of it, the sublime aspect of it. Upa, closest. Naya, that which enables you to take you closest to the truth. Naya means that which takes us, the process of taking. Upa, closest. And in our modernity, you say, I will not chant it if I don't know the meaning. Pehle seekh to lo. The sublime aspect of the meaning and the depth of it is at a later stage. When you take a child to the swimming pool, the science of it as to how you float, you learn later. The very technique of floating, you learn first. So the student was introduced to the Upanayana Samskara. Through that Upanayana Samskara, a mantra was given. Through the mantra, that mind which is inaccessible, that mind of ours which is completely haywire, running through different ports of entry and exit, that was tamed. That was brought under balanced control. That was given a focal point. That was made to be adaptive enough to absorb the knowledge and wisdom, to be ready to be learning. When the instrument itself is not ready to learn and we are shoving that so-called education, where is that education going? Neither the parents understand it, nor the teachers understand it, nor the principal understands it. It's shoving the data in. I asked one of the educators recently, what is it that is the aim of your kind of schools? Very clearly and blatantly he says, our purpose is not to educate. What theory? Vidyalaya, school, he says very blatantly that our purpose is not to educate. modern education system. We want them to memorize and spit it out within next 3 to 6 months and get or break the rank barrier. Our job is done. What happens to such so-called education system? We produce engineers, doctors, lawyers who can't even put a sentence together, let alone a case, let alone a patient, let alone a bridge. They can't put a cohesive sentence properly. How are you? This is present tense. I is good. I is good is a statement made by somebody who has a certification which says he is a lawyer, he is a doctor, he is an engineer. You ask them sin theta by cos theta is what? Where do you use it? Don't know. Where are the degree, the differentials and limits applied? No clue. They have learnt it, memorized it, regurgitated it, spat it out on the answer sheets. They're done. Neither the parent is interested nor the student is interested. Student is least interested. Balastavat krida sakta. What if the teachers are also not interested? I'm still shocked. This just happened a month ago. I'm still shocked. Whereas the educator says the purpose of the school, Vidyalaya, is not for Vidya. Why parents are demanding marks? We have now found how to generate those marks. Learning, educating has lost its direction. See, when you send your child with a vehicle onto the road, don't you spend time to make sure that the child has learnt that vehicle properly? Or on the 18th birthday, some sophisticated vehicle you have given, jo bhi ho, and leave it to them. Do you remember your elders or parents, somebody who was running behind you, the cycle holding that carrier behind, until you knew how to hit the balance? I see early morning the parent taking trouble trying to teach the child how to drive a two-wheeler, how to drive a car. Because it is not just the safety of everyone, it is the safety of the one who is driving as well. It's not that we have given them an equipment, we are also paying attention to ensure that the child learns that equipment so that the child is safe as well as the society around is also safe. We are letting loose the next generation of children without the basic aspect of the mind being even understood. How to channelize and control the emotions. How to face failure. Many of these churned, educated, illiterate idiots, because education was not the purpose of that institution, they have earned good marks, good degrees, they are forced into premium institutions like IITs and Triple E or whatever those different courses that they get into. Within the first year, the number of suicides that happen, where is that pressure being born out of? one key thing as a parent we have failed to teach our children is to face failure. Each one of us will fail. There is nobody who has succeeded without failing. But we have forgotten to teach them how to cope with failure, how to rise out of a failure, how to become the phoenix of their own life. That from the burnt experience you rise above again with flying colors. That was focused by the rishis. The first thing that they gave as soon as they were intending to join the Gurukula was to teach them with Upanayana. The first step is to understand the mind, channelize the mind, bring it to equipoise state and a focal point. Prepared mind thus was introduced to the field of Vidya, where the teacher was not shouting on the top of their lungs, trying to say, children, stop distracting yourselves. Focus. More than the teaching, it is this cry. And now the teachers have taken it for granted that that is the norm. Therefore, we introduce bhaya, corporal punishments. Murga bano, go kneel down, stand up on the bench, whack them blue and black. And with both parents working, the situation has become even worse. Because the child is no more the responsibility of the parent, the child is responsibility of that education system whose focus is not education. The first thing the Rishi said, let the child be introduced to their own mind and that mind be streamlined, wherein the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the ideas, it becomes a good fertile land for these ideas to be sown and grown. Without that preparedness, when we hit life, there is only bitterness that comes out as experience. "18, 20-year-old youngsters already exhausted with life. Why? Because they are not prepared for life. They are prepared for memorizing, regurgitating, spitting it out. That's it. And the parents also have, I think they have gone bonkers. No skill is developed. As recently as last week, it's mango season, right? There are some mangoes which you chew so fine. There are some mangoes which you peel, cut and eat. So in the ashram, the Chinmayananda ashram, we have all varieties. So there is one variety which was ripening. So there were some youngsters, I said, peel. But 5 minutes later, I get into the kitchen, I see that it has become a mango pulp in their hands. And their cry, the peeler is not working. So the same peeler, I take another mango and I peel the entire skin in one stroke. I am not talking of one stroke taking one part of the skin. The entire mango was peeled in one stroke. It works. नहीं, आपका मैंगो कड़क था. Simple skill. Peeling, cutting. Touch with life is gone. Whereas the subtle thinkers, the rishis, their very focal point even before education began was to tame that mind. Without that mind being tamed, without that mind Though I have started meditation class, so far I have not touched upon meditation. In all honesty, I have not touched upon meditation. What am I working with? A Herculean task. To teach somebody who has lived 40, 50, 60 years of their life how to tame their mind, how to bring that focal point, which should have started when they were 4 years old. So the Rishi's wisdom, the Upanishadic wisdom, is not arbitrarily given. It is a systematic, beautiful, step-by-step process. The most logical, at every step, sound reasoning. If not this, what else will you call as modern and scientific? Just because you wear pants and tie and a shoe, that doesn't make it modern. Such thorough reasoning, such logical steps, you would seldom find it anywhere else. Such thoroughness in their approach. They have given ladder of rise, they have given ladder of fall. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Step by step logical reasoning as to how one can fall prey to one's own inadequacies of indisciplined mind. Problem given. Where is the solution? Satsangatve nissangatvam nissangatve nirmohatvam nirmohatve nischalatatvam nischalatatve jivan muktihi. Show me one other place where a scripture talks such profoundness of logical approach. And then we fall trap. Because now we have been told, we have been sold by the idea that this is not modern. So we have to, we find people saying, Hindu religion is the most scientific. However, we never had a problem with science. We saw science as the necessary tool to step up into spirituality. It is that scripture which said that the earth is not flat. The very study of earth was called Bhu Gola. That is not flat, it is round. We never said that it is earth centric. We always said it is Saurya Mandala, solar centric. Now from the farthest of the skies to the earth, to the individual study of plants, stones, rivers, the inner systems of how it works. We never had a problem with science. That we have to struggle hard to prove that everything is scientific. If at all there is anybody that has to struggle to prove themselves as scientific, is the other religions. Here there is nothing but a pure logical approach, therefore it has to be scientific. Cannot be otherwise. So the Upanishadic study is for a prepared mind. That mind which has been disciplined. That mind which has been thoroughly soaked in the very fiber of the idea called Karma Yoga Siddhanta. And that mind which has been channelized to one focal point through Upasana. Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata is ascertained. And then the study of scripture begins. not for an unprepared mind. How do I know if my mind is prepared or not? If you have an electrician come to your house and work on AC or fan, and I said, "Sab, kaam ho gaya, job is done." How do you check? You turn the switch on. As soon as you turn the switch on, thank goodness there was electricity, and the instrument started functioning. Is it functioning well? Then you start testing with the regulator. Can you put it at a faster pace? Can you reduce it to a slower pace? Similarly with mind. Any environment, whether it is vyavaharika or adhyatmika, you bring that mind, can you apply it without any deviation or distraction? That mind is prepared. You say, think on this particular topic or theme, it meticulously starts, logically, reason-based, starts going through that. No subject was a strange subject. Because the mind is prepared, it can soak in, it can absorb. And the method of thinking was given. The beauty is, it was not the purpose to teach what to think. The purpose was how to think. Once enabled with how to think, any theme doesn't matter. You have the tools to prod into, to investigate into, and reach to the finality of that particular theme. So, is my mind prepared? That when I sit in one particular theme of study, theme of pursuit, however may be the distractions outside, unsupported from the outside, it stays focused on that particular aspect. Not depending on coffee, not depending on energy drinks, not depending on, none of that nonsense is required. I order the mind to stay focused in that topic, it stays focused. I say withdraw. Unequivocally it withdraws. I say sleep. The mind sleeps, not during the class. When I hit the bed and say sleep, हम ऐसे कि डोसे की तरह इधर पलटे फिर उधर पलटे फिर ऊपर नीचे आगे पीछे. Blessed are those who can sleep as soon as they hit the bed. If sleeping was a trouble, waking up should be easy. That also struggle. The mind has to be prepared, equipped. It has to be taken through that discipline to mature to that level wherein the accessibility to my own mind is at my fingertips. Because it has been trained, disciplined, equipped with how to think. Without that equipped mind, such subtleties of Upanishad when taken up, wherein the mind is laden with so much of fear, so much of anxiety, so much of insecurities, the mind is not focused on this subtlety, it is focused on everything but this subtlety. Because the mind is hanging over with something else. Hangover is not just of liquor. Hangover of all the experiences, past, present, future. Regrets of the past is a hangover. Anxieties of the future is a hangover. Uncertainties of the present is a hangover. Upanishad says, when the student reaches to the master in complete surrender with Shraddha and asks questions, not to test whether the teacher knows or to see if it really works. It can be an initial phase, but get over that, get past that. And when the student is prepared, wherein Pariksha Lokan, Vairagya is already established. Why? I have tested, I have seen that which I am seeking, that which I am after. The world cannot provide, therefore there is no distraction. And I have accessibility to my mind, it is balanced. Now whatever you say, point it, I shall reach it. To that mind which has done the mantra bhaga, brahmana bhaga and the aranyaka bhaga is ready for Upanishad bhaga. It's not the reverse. First I do the Upanishad. We are Bharatiya, not Chinese, to do reverse engineering to develop technology. I'll stop here. We'll continue with the main Upanishad tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyat Dukhabhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.